We begin with the deportation of more than 130 Venezuelan migrants expelled from the U.S. under the 227-year-old Alien Enemies Act. A federal judge tried to block it, but the White House says the planes carrying them had already taken off for El Salvador. Immigration reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez is here with me to untangle all of this. First, Camilo, who are the people who were deported over the weekend?
Hi, John. So the U.S. sent about 261 deportees to El Salvador over the weekend on several deportation flights. 137 of them were Venezuelan migrants accused of being members of the transnational Tren de Aragua criminal gang, and they were expelled under the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, which is, of course, now at the center of this intensifying legal battle. Another 101 Venezuelans were deported under regular immigration procedures, and another 23 migrants from El Salvador were deported under, again, regular immigration proceedings. They are accused of being members of a gang as well.
So some gang, not some gang.
That's right.
How do they determine who's in a gang?
That is one of the critical questions here. As far as we know, the U.S. government does not have criminal or intelligence databases from Venezuela to determine that. We do know that under the Alien Enemies Act, the only finding that U.S. officials have to make to summarily arrest, detain, and deport somebody is that that person has to be from Venezuela, they are 14 or older, and that they are allegedly part of this notorious Tren de Aragua criminal gang. Advocates say that is a slippery slope, and they are concerned that due process here is being violated and that people are being removed solely because of tattoos or mere speculation.
Why send them to El Salvador?
Well, the U.S. has long faced logistical and diplomatic difficulties in deporting people directly to Venezuela, mainly because the repressive government in that country has long limited or rejected U.S. deportations. On the other hand, El Salvador is offering to accept third country nationals, including Venezuelans, and including suspected gang members from that country, and to detain them in some of these notorious prisons that the government there has set up as part of that crackdown on crime and gangs.
The doors are open to the jails. Camilo Montoya-Galvez, thank you so much, as always.
Of course, John.
This is only the fourth time in history the Alien Enemies Act has been invoked by a president. The last three times were in war: 1812, World War I, and World War II, when it was used to intern thousands of Japanese Americans. I'm joined now by legal contributor and Loyola Law School professor Jessica Levinson. Jessica, first, we're not at war, so how is the president using this power?
Because the language in the statute continues during wartime or during a time of invasion or a predatory incursion. So we're under a different part of the statute. And what we're talking about here is whether or not the current facts have triggered the president's authority to use this statute. It's very clear here that the language of the statute says or. It's not very clear that the president can use this law dating back from 1798 to say that he has the power to deport certain people who are in this country, again, based on the idea we need an invasion or a predatory incursion.
Well, could a president just say, you know what, I feel like this is a predatory incursion. There we go. That's all the proof. That's all the support you need.
Well, we're about to see, but I think the answer, honestly, is no. So the statutory language says you need a public proclamation. We have that, but we also have a lawsuit. And what we know in the lawsuit is that those challenging the president's use of the Aliens Enemy Act are saying, where's the proof? And so, no, to your question, John, I don't think that we are going to have federal judges say, you can wave a magic wand and say, there's the invasion. Having said that, we know that courts defer to presidents in two different situations. One is foreign policy related to immigration, and the other is national security. So judges can ask, and I believe that they should ask, but I also think that they will show a certain amount of deference to the presidential administration here.
Briefly, we have about 20 seconds, Jessica. The White House is basically saying this is not up for judicial review at all. What do you make of that?
I think that's a very bold argument here. They're saying that there are inherent powers that they have. They're saying this is not up for judicial review. They're saying the plane was outside the U.S. jurisdiction. All of this will be considered in the coming days.